So as to live a better life, I am asking Claude, how do I get smarter? And here is what Claude has to say. Getting smarter is really about building habits that compound over time. Here are the most effective approaches. 1. Read widely and deliberately. Reading, especially books, builds vocabulary, expands mental models, and exposes you to expert thinking. Mix topics: history, science, philosophy, business, fiction. The goal is breadth and depth. Learn by doing, not just consuming. Passive consumption, watching videos, reading articles, gives the illusion of learning. Real knowledge sticks when you apply it. Build something, teach someone, write about it, solve actual problems. Think in first principles. Instead of accepting received wisdom, ask why things work the way they do. Break problems down to their foundations. This is how people like Feynman, Feynman and Musk approached hard problems, and it built genuinely flexible intelligence. Write to clarify thinking. Writing forces precision. If you can't explain something clearly in writing, you don't fully understand it. Journaling, note taking, essays, all of it sharpens your thinking over time. Embrace difficulty and discomfort. Your brain grows at the edge of what you can do, not in the comfort zone. Seek out other material, other conversations, other problems. Struggle is the signal that learning is happening. Sleep, exercise, and protect your attention. Cognitive performance is heavily physical. Sleep consolidates memory. Exercise increases BDNF, brain derived neurotrophic factor, which supports neural growth. And in a distraction heavy world, deep focus is a competitive advantage. Guard it. Talk to people smarter than you. Conversations with people who think differently or know more than you accelerate growth faster than almost anything else. Ask questions, shut up, listen, review and connect what you learn. Spaced repetition, revisiting material over time, is the most evidence backed learning technique. And connecting new knowledge to things you already know creates richer, more retrievable understanding. The meta point: intelligence isn't fixed, it's a skill you build. The people who seem sharpest are actually just the ones who've been most consistent about these habits over years. What area are you looking to get smarter in? General intelligence, a specific field, strategic thinking? I asked Claude again, how do I get smarter? And it highlighted one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. 8 points. The first is read widely and deliberately. The second is learn by doing and not just consuming. The third is think in first principles. The fourth is write to clarify thinking. The fifth is embrace difficulty and discomfort. The sixth is sleep, exercise, and protect your attention. The seventh is talk to people smarter than you. And the last but not the least, review and connect what you learn. The first tells you read widely and deliberately. According to Claude, reading enhances and builds your vocabulary, and it also expands your mental models, which exposes you to expert thinking. When you read, one, your vocabulary gets better, you expand your mental models, so your initiative, your brain expands, and you are able to accumulate more information. And then it also exposes you to expert thinking. Reading allows you to know the way experts in different fields how they think, thereby you consume the knowledge that you have learned from them. And this is also a shortcut in life, because when you read, you get to listen and learn from other people, and by so doing, you go it saves you from making the mistakes that they have already made, and this is a shortcut to getting to a result that you want to get. When you read, you should mix topics. You should mix from history to science to philosophy to business to fiction. The goal is breadth and depth. So this helps you, in my own words, not my own word, but this helps you to expand your horizon. Because when you read different topics, you are the kind of person that can engage in different conversations. You can talk about history, you can talk about science, you can talk about philosophy, you can talk about business, you can talk about fiction. So reading helps you to expand your horizon. It gives you breadth, that is a wide range, and it gives you depth, that is, it allows you to go deeper into things that you would like to talk about or you would like to know about. Then the second one is learn by doing, not just consuming. Passive consumptions like scrolling, doom scrolling and watching different videos, or even just reading random articles does not make you smarter. It gives you an illusion that you are learning, but it does not stick, because when you do something, you actually are learning from the art and the act of doing. So, real knowledge sticks when you apply it, not just by you feeding yourself with information. Knowledge sticks when you actually utilize the information while you are feeding yourself the information. So you need to build something. During the building process, you get to learn how it is done. You teach people. So when you teach someone, you are also learning during the teaching process. The same way, all this I am learning right now, I am learning it because I am teaching you guys. Furthermore, you write about it. So when you write about things, it allows you to think deep into your brain, into your mind, and it allows you to understand the things that you're trying to teach, that you're trying to write about. So when you're trying to write, you have to think. You have to think with your brain and you have to think with your mind, because you have to recollect memories from your brain and you have to write things out from your heart, from your mind. So writing helps you to learn by doing. Furthermore, you need to solve actual problems. When you are a problem solver, you learn by doing. When you're trying to solve a problem, you engage your mental faculties, and by so doing, you allow your mental faculties to grow. The third one is think in first principles. Now, instead of accepting received wisdom, you should ask why things work the way they do, rather than me accepting what Ryan Holiday sent me in his email yesterday, that shortcuts is not good. I should go through the long process. I sat back and then I read what he sent me in his email to properly understand the information he was trying to pass across. And although I do not totally agree with what he has said, it did make a lot of sense, which is for you to go through the long process of understanding rather than seeking shortcuts. But I also think you should facilitate your understanding and your learning and your goals in life by doing the things that gets you to your desired results so that you can even further chase more things that can get you further results, thereby you living your full and fulfilled life. And so, think in first principles rather than just accepting people's knowledge or ideologies. You can question it and then improve on what you've learned from them. Also, you break problems down to their foundations. You don't just look at the problem the way it is, you break it down to their foundations so as to understand what is going on. And in one of my other videos, I'm going to break down my own problems into its foundation to know why I went from earning $3,000 to $5,000 a month from my own company to earning $0, which is quite absurd. So I'm going to break down my own problems to its foundation. And although I tell myself that it is just a phase, that is quite insane because how do you go from making to not even making a penny? And I wouldn't say a lot because I've always seen myself as a person that can make a ridiculous amount of money. But now I am not even making a dime. And so I am going to self reflect on that and then break my problems down to their foundations. Then Claude went further and said, this is how people like Feynman and Musk approached art problems, and it built genuinely flexible intelligence. So, furthermore, during the course of my studying, I am going to read about someone called Feynman. I already know quite a lot about Elon Musk. Give me a second, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Morning. Then the next is write to clarify thinking. Writing forces precision. When you write, it allows you to engage your mental faculties. And when you engage your mental faculties, it allows you to be precise with your thinking. If you can't explain something clearly in writing, you don't fully understand it. So before you can write something down properly and engage your mental faculties for you to actually write things that make sense, it means you must have a certain level of understanding of what you are trying to talk about or the information that you are trying to pass across. And so, writing helps you to force precision in when you are trying to communicate or pass across an information. Furthermore, journaling, note taking, essays, all of it sharpens your thinking over time. And this is very true because when you're journaling, and I should get a new journal as soon as possible, when you're journaling, it allows you to engage a part of your brain. Let me check the parts of the brain it is because I know the brain is divided into three sections. We have the forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain. So which part of the brain is engaged while thinking or writing? Now the next thing that we work on is to be precise in what I am saying rather than going around in circles. So I realized that sometimes there's a bit of tautology in what I say. So I say something which is a fact, but then rather than express that fact in another topic sentence or break it down into a smaller unit, I just use different filler words to say the same thing exactly the way it is. So I'm trying to also work on that to improve my thinking and vocabulary. The part of the brain responsible for thinking and writing is the cerebral cortex, specifically the frontal cortex for planning and logic, the parietal and temporal lobes for language processing, and the motor cortex for physical act of writing. So the part that functions for the thinking is the cerebral cortex. So the cerebral cortex is this the cerebral, it's in the cerebral. So I remember we have the cerebellum. Let me check if it's the cerebellum. Where is the cerebral cortex located? Where is the cerebral cortex located? The cerebral cortex is the outermost layer of the cerebrum, making up the surface of your brain, just beneath the skull. So I'm guessing it's the whitish part of the brain. Let me ask what color it is. What color is it? What's So the cerebral cortex is on the cerebral cortex is on the cerebrum. Like I said, the cerebral cortex is the outermost layer of the cerebrum. So it is on the cerebrum. It is the outermost layer of the cerebrum, and it is making up the surface of your brain, just beneath your skull. So I'm not guessing. Literally from here, the anatomy. This is the cerebral cortex. So your cerebral cortex is just beneath your skull. After your skull, we have your cerebral cortex here. And your cerebral cortex can be found as the outermost layer of your cerebrum. So your cerebral cortex is the outermost layer of the cerebrum, making up the surface of your brain just beneath the skull. And this is the part of your brain responsible for your thinking and your writing. I was going to ask, what color is it? I know the brain is white in color. What color is your, let me say, cerebral cortex? Okay, it's gray, not white. Apologies. That's true because the brain is called the gray matter. I'm gonna ask it, what is the color of the cerebrum? This is a two-factor authentication, so I'm guessing it's gray. Oh, so there's also the white part. The cerebrum is actually two colors. It is both gray and white. Huh. So I'm not wrong. Okay, the inner part of the brain is the white matter. The outer part of the brain is the gray matter. Why did I call it matter? Because it's called matter. Then we have the fatty cover that makes the inner cables look white. Okay. And so back to write to clarify thinking. Writing forces precision. If you can't explain something clearly in writing, you don't fully understand it. Journaling, note taking, essays, all of it sharpens your thinking over time. So journaling, which is a form of writing, note taking, which is a form of writing, and essays, which is a form of writing, helps to sharpen your thinking over time. A student of mine that I'm teaching, although we've not had sessions in a minute, I usually try to force her to write essays because I am trying to engage her thinking. I'm trying to engage her mind. I'm trying to help her to actually put the things in her head down on paper so that she can be forced to actually deal with her own thoughts. Because when you write essays, you are actually forced to deal with the things in your head. You are forced to deal with your thoughts. So journaling, note taking, and essay writing is a very good way of engaging your cerebral cortex, which is part of your cerebrum that helps you with your thinking. On to the next, we have embrace difficulty and discomfort. Your brain grows at the edge of what you can do, not in their comfort zone. Not in the comfort zone. Seek out other material, other conversations, other problems. Struggle is the signal that learning is happening. Now, your brain grows at the edge of what you can do. So when you're doing a task and the task gets too easy, It simply means your brain is no longer growing. Your brain starts to grow when you push yourself to an external limit. So let's say you do a work and you're able to get 100 over 100. You have to realize that if you keep doing the same task, your brain no longer grows. You need to increase the difficult level of the task so that your brain can grow. Give me a second, guys. Siri, stop alarm. And so, apologies for that. That was my alarm. And so, you need to seek out other material, other conversations, other problems. Other material, when you are studying, you need to learn things that are a bit more difficult than the things that you already know. So, in my next content for my studying, I am going to be increasing the difficult level of the things I will try to learn so that my brain can expand and understand things better. And so it says here, you need to seek out other material. So you need to study things that are harder to understand so that your brain can think stronger and deeper. You need to have other conversations. So if you're having basic mundane conversations, it will not allow your brain to grow. You need to talk to people that are more intelligent than you. You need to have conversations that are harder so that your brain can grow. You need to have other conversations. You need to be engaged in conversations that are difficult. You need to be in the difficult conversations. You need to say the difficult things. This is where I said I need to also work on my own vocabulary because I'm trying to find a way to express other conversations, but I'm using filler words and I'm saying the same thing but in repetition without simplifying what other conversation means. So let me check what other conversation actually means. What are other conversations? A hard conversation or difficult conversation is any discussion where the stakes are high, opinions differ, and emotions run strong. These talks typically address sensitive or uncomfortable topics. Good morning. Where there is a risk of conflict, disagreement, or potential damage to a relationship. Hard conversations usually involve one or more of the following elements: strong emotions, fear of rejection, anger, sadness, or awkwardness, high stakes. The outcome will significantly impact a career, a relationship, or a personal situation. Differing viewpoints. Both parties have conflicting perspectives or goals. And so, hard conversation, unlike what I said earlier, is not about talking to people who are smarter than you. Hard conversation simply means having a conversation where the stakes are high, opinion differ, and emotions run strong. So a hard conversation is a conversation whereby you wouldn't necessarily have that conversation with a person. And I have had conversations with my dad or my mom or even my sister a lot, especially when they get on my nerves. Usually, I probably don't do this at first. Not even probably, I typically don't do this at first because I wouldn't want any awkwardness. But when I realize that they are getting on my nerves and I don't want them to keep getting on my nerves and I just want things to change, then I have the hard conversations. And in the 21st century, a hard conversation can be illustrated as an intervention. When you think someone is doing something wrong and you try to correct them or you try to show them the errors of their ways. Then we go to other problems. If you are trying to increase your brain capacity or you are trying to grow your brain, you need to engage yourself with other problems. So you need to do the hard things. because the easy things dulls your brain. I don't necessarily know if the easy things dull your brain, but from here, doing the hard things improves your brain. And this is where I need to stop making insinuations where I don't have the full understanding or the full information that I can use to actually decipher what I would say, because I don't know for a fact if doing easy things dulls your brain. But this is a moment of growth. Does doing easy things dull your brain? Is that even a good English construction? Actually, I was. It says here, consistently doing only easy or routine things can lead to cognitive stagnation as your brain adapts to require less effort. Just like a physical muscle, the brain relies on challenge and new learning to maintain its neuroplasticity, memory, and sharpens over time. While a steady diet of the easy stuff can cause mental sluggishness. Huh, so I was right. Doing easy things can actually dull your brain. The complete picture is a bit more nuanced. Routine versus growth. Doing simple, habitual tasks like folding laundry or basic admin work frees up your executive brain or conserve energy. However, it can never push yourself to learn new skills or solve complex problems. Your cognitive strength slowly declines. Wow. From here, doing menial jobs can actually make your cognitive strength decline. That is scary. So, if you are working a menial job, it can actually numb your brain and make you dumber, biologically speaking. That's scary. The trap of frictionless living. Modern conveniences such as one click delivery or relying heavily on AI assistants reduce helpful everyday friction. While these tools save time, letting them do all the thinking can lead to a decline in critical problem solving skills. And this is very true because the other day I was trying to construct a very basic email and I couldn't even bring myself to think properly and construct an email. And I ended up using AI to construct an email from me. And so, using AI in your day to day activities without engaging your own mental faculties can actually help numb your brain. I don't think that is a help, anyways, because it is not helping you, it is causing critical and problem solving, critical and problem solving critical and problem solving declination. So your brain starts to decline, especially the part of your brain responsible for your critical thinking and your problem solving. And so this is where I say Ryan Holiday kind of wins again when he said that you should not take the shortcut because AI is a shortcut. Although when I made my video yesterday, I still said that in as much as you use AI to do things, you should use AI to facilitate your learning. And this is what I'm doing right now. I am using AI to facilitate my learning. Yesterday, the specific illustration I said was I could use AI to write my project, then read my project to understand what it has written, and then now use AI to better research it. In as much as that is true, if I want to be extremely honest with myself, it is not the same as you compiling this information yourself from scratch, step by step, because the slow and excruciatingly boring process, and it might not be necessarily boring, but the slow process of you compiling educative information actually helps you or rather, it forces you to read the things that you're compiling. And when you have to force yourself to read these things to compile it properly because you're trying to get a good grade on your assignment, you end up learning it compared to when you use AI. With AI generates the answers for you, you scan through it, and then you submit it. And most often than not, I personally do not really scan through it because I trust AI to give me the right answer. And so, in whatever you're doing, try to engage your mental faculties because apparently using AI consistently all the time actually declines the part of your brain responsible for your critical thinking and your problem solving skills. Then we have the power of novelty. Neuroscientists point out that engaging in difficult tasks like learning a language, playing an instrument, or intense exercise releases neuromodulators like dopamine and actively builds brain resilience. I need to go back to the gym. I took a break from the gym because I needed to allocate more time to my task, but to be honest, I don't think my KPIs have increased and my muscles are shrinking drastically. But the other day, I was also thinking to myself that the gym is a very annoying place to be. Why? I spend my time and my strength building these muscles. Then for some reason, I stop going to the gym. Let's say I don't go to the gym for 2 weeks or a month. My muscles actually reduces. Although there was this biologist I was reading the other day who said that it is more mental than it is physical because apparently the elasticity of your muscles doesn't shrink that fast because of the protein intake and carbohydrate intake in as much as you are in a calorie surplus. That is one. And even if you are not in a calorie surplus, it takes a bit of time before your expanded muscles starts to shrink. I do not really agree with that because 4 weeks ago when I still go to the gym, the way my suit feels on my body is not the same my suit feels. But then again, if it is psychological, I would be trapped in the illusion that it is not. If it is psychological, I will be trapped in the illusion that my muscles have actually reduced and my shirt is looser. But then again, this has nothing to do with psychological situations because I put on the shirt and I move the part of my shirt like this, and there is space. But before, when I try to move it, I can't move it. In fact, as a matter of fact, when I wear it, it hurts my biceps and I feel some sort of pain. So, how on earth is that psychological when there is actual real life proof? And so, do I trust the biologist or do I trust my own eyeballs? I think in that scenario, I will rather trust my eyeballs because I can literally feel the shit. Or maybe I should just actually just measure my weight right now. The scale isn't where it used to be. If or when I find a scale, I will keep you guys updated. Seeing as much as the biologist is probably right because he is a biologist and I mean he performed research before he made these findings. I also do think if you don't go to the gym after a while, your muscles shrink because it is just muscle elasticity, and muscles are elastic in nature. They can expand and they can contract. And so I was thinking to myself that it is a waste of time going to the gym. Not a total waste, but when you don't have a lot of money in life, going to the gym feels like a waste of time because I'm spending the time I should be using to work at the gym. And for some reason, let's say I don't go to the gym, my muscles will shrink. But, and this sounds very cliche, yeah, but when you make money and you keep making money, Your money will not just magically disappear unless you have poor spending habits. Someone like me, because my poor spending habit was I should have never bought a car. Buying a car was one of the most stupid decisions I made in a life. Because number one, that is not even my only car. That is my second car. So why am I buying two cars? Because I'm in the UK and my first car is in Nigeria. But why am I buying a second car in a country whose transport system is amazing? That was very foolish of me. And then I did not even buy it on credit. I bought it in cash. So I used £6,000. I wasted that on buying a car, and I was paying over £200 every month on insurance. So within a period of 1 year, although my car got stolen on the 11th month, in a period of 10 months, I spent close, close over £2,000 on insurance. But it's maybe not over £2,000 because at some point my insurance went from 227 to 205. Then from 205 it went to 187. But regardless, that was not a very good thinking at all. And then the insurance company didn't pay me insurance fee because they stole my car after I got the SORN for the car. That was bad luck. That was bad. Like it had me thinking maybe I have a spell. God forbid in Jesus' name. I mean, I pray so I don't have any spell on me. But bro, that was crazy. That was tough luck. That was the toughest luck on the planet. I don't have the toughest luck on the planet in the name of Jesus. I rebuke every negativity in Jesus' name. Amen. Holy Ghost fire. But yeah, that was a very, very bad financial move for me. And if you're watching this, before you make financial decisions, think and analyze it properly. And even when your analysis seems normal and it seems like you're not wrong, learn to take people's advice, especially if you are new in a geographical region and there are people that kind of know more than you. I'm not saying that you should take other people's ideologies as law, but most often than not, or maybe I should say sometimes, people know what they are talking about and they know more than you, especially if you are in an uncharted territory where you don't really know much going on there. Because I should have taken some advices, but young rich nigga, I don't care. I'll just make the money back. Well, I've not been able to make the money back. This is funny. But at least I'm consoling myself right now. But I need to stop consoling myself and realize that God forbid in Jesus' name. But I don't want to be saying that. I want to be real with myself. And if I want to be real with myself, bro, you are a pauper. Oh my God. But I don't want to say that because it's like, God forbid. But like, dude, you are poor. My God. Like, wake up to reality. So yeah, I'm waking up to reality and I have to lock in. But I've been locked. Like, the crazy thing is I'm locked in. That's the annoying thing. It's not like, but I need to lock in more. So I need volunteers because I need to produce more content and I need to run more marketing and more sales. But I can't do it myself. So in as much as I'm locked in, I cannot lock in more than what a single human being can do. Unless I clone myself, and I can't clone myself. But I can also lock in and stop sleeping. But if I don't sleep through the night, that is bad for my cognitive. It's bad for my brain because if you don't sleep, then your brain starts to shrink or whatnot. But then again, that sounds like the words of a lazy man. But I just read it to you guys right now that not sleeping is bad for your brain. So do I lock in at the detriment of my brain? And keeping in mind that I only sleep like 5 hours a day. So it's not like I'm sleeping lavishly. Sometimes though I sleep up to 8 hours, especially when I feel like I'm about to pass out. Also, I think people like Elon Musk and what's his name? Not even Bill Gates. This guy that built Facebook. Wow. Man dropped and he became very unpopular. Let me just check. That is sad. Good morning. Mark Zuckerberg. I think those guys are just liars because they tell you they don't sleep through the night. How do you not sleep through the night, bro? I tried that for a week one time and I thought I was going to die. I didn't even like try for a week straight up without sleeping. I was just working. But I think not sleeping through the night in your own personal space is a lot easier. Yeah. Anyways, make some sacrifices. Back to the topic sentence. Then the next one is so still on embrace difficulty and discomfort. You need to seek out other material, other conversations, and other problems. And so right now, in as much as I'm going through my own, I'm trying to look for the right vocabulary. So I have to use a different sentence. So seeking other problems, my company is my problem right now, so I have to fix it. And so it is already a difficult problem. So I need to find a way to conquer this problem, which is a good thing, meaning that my brain will be forced to actually develop. So I just need to conquer this problem. The next is struggle is the signal that learning is happening. So this is me learning. I also need to learn more things about marketing, sales, selling through content, making better content, and eventually running high converting adverts. But I also need to start imputing some of the things I've learned, like inbound and outbound marketing. Because with inbound and outbound marketing, I don't need to run adverts. I just need to cold approach clients. And this is where I need to force myself to realize that I need to do the things that I have not done before so that I can get better results. Because I am not the kind of person that is used to cold approaching clients. But I did go for one event and all the people I met there, I collected their contacts and I sent them a message, but they didn't reply, and that was quite irritating to deal with. But then you cannot give up after the first trial. You need to keep trying and you need to keep going harder and harder and harder. So struggle is the signal that learning is happening. Sleep, exercise, and protect your attention. Cognitive performance is heavily physical. Sleep consolidates memory. Exercise increases BDNF, brain derived neurotropic factor. But I have no money to register at the gym, so what do I do? I don't know. And I am actually sick and tired of begging for favors from people. It is killing my self esteem, it is killing my self worth, and it is making me not like existing. But if you're in a scenario where you have to beg for help from people, well, you need to, or else you just even remain stagnant, or you actually force yourself to grow. So which is it? Because I do think you can genuinely force yourself to grow. Since I've been getting help from people, I feel like my ability to depend on myself has started diminishing. Because I feel like eventually someone might come to help me. So now I need to realize that help comes from God and me. I think I want to actually stop asking people for help because it has not actually helped me in the bigger picture. I've only gotten temporary satisfactions, but not a permanent solution to my problems. And so it is not something that is actually helping me in the long run. As a matter of fact, who knows, maybe I'm depriving myself of being an extreme problem solver, whereby if I don't ask for help, then my brain evolves and grows to the level whereby I can actually analyze things and then solve my own problems. But then, is this not pride? Because if you need help, why not just ask for help? Well, this is why you need to subscribe to my channel so that you see how it goes. Like I said, this is not just content. This is real life for me. So everything I am reading right now, From Claude, I will be utilizing every single thing. Why? Because I'm trying to enhance my thinking and my problem solving abilities. And so, yeah, I'm going to stop asking people for help and just ask God for help. I'm going to stop asking my pastors to tell me what to do. I'm going to stop asking for people's advice. Rather than ask for people's advice, I would use the internet and I'll do all the research and findings myself. Let's see if that actually makes my life a lot better. Then we've got, yeah, so exercise increases BDNF, brain derived neurotrophic factor, which supports neural growth. And in a distraction heavy world, deep focus is a competitive advantage. Guard it. The next is talk to people smarter than you. Conversations with people who think differently or know more than you accelerates growth faster than almost anything else. So I do guess you need to seek help, because if you are not smart and you want to talk to people smarter than you, actually that's not asking for help. That is you talking to people smarter than you. Yeah. See, seeking for help makes you a bitch. Talk to people smarter than you. Conversations with people who think differently or know more than you accelerates growth faster than almost anything else. Ask questions. Shut up. Listen. Review and connect what you learn. Spaced repetition, revisiting material over time is the most evidence backed learning technique, and connecting new knowledge to things you already know creates richer, more retrievable understanding. So, for your brain to grow, you need to revisit the materials over time. This is where, and excuse my language, but I think a lot of people who go online saying they've read 50 books in a year are fundamental liars. Because if you really read a book and you want to understand the book, you don't read the book once and understand it. You might have the idea, but if you really, really, really want to understand the book and you want to utilize the things in the book, you read it repeatedly. You have to be repetitive. You have to do it repeatedly, and you have to be repetitive with the action. So reading 50 books in a year, unless you have an extreme high amount of IQ, is probably you just reading it for the fun of it, not for actually understanding it. Or maybe I should not just come online judging other people based on my own reality, because maybe there might be people out there that can read 50 books in a year and they will understand every single thing in the book. I think the odds of that happening is slim, but I don't want to judge or insinuate actions for other people. So let's use Claude. Just a quick one. But before I do that, let's conclude this. And connecting new knowledge to things you already know creates richer, more retrievable understanding. So when you know something and you connect it to what you already know, it allows you to have a richer and more retrievable understanding. This is why I've been connecting everything I've been learning yesterday to the shortcut and the long method by, what is his name? Ryan Holiday. To be precise with that train of thoughts, specifically what I've been connecting it to is skip the shortcut, take the long way instead. So I've been connecting everything to that, and it has been helping me to understand things better, which is good. And so I will tell you this, and Claude would also tell you this: connecting new knowledge to things you already know creates richer, more retrievable understanding. The mental, the meta point: intelligence isn't fixed, it's a skill you build. The people who seem sharpest are usually the ones who've been, probably shouldn't have abbreviated this. The people who seem sharpest are usually the ones who have been most consistent about these habits over years. Bro, you need to utilize these 8 methods to grow your mental faculties and get smarter. So, quick one: can a person read 50 books within a year and learn everything in it? Honest answer: yes to the reading, no to everything. 50 books in a year is doable. That's roughly one book per week at an average of 250 to 300 pages per book. You'd need to read about 40 to 50 pages a day, maybe 49 to 50 minutes of reading, depending on your pace. Many serious readers do far more than this, but learning everything in it is where it breaks down for a few reasons. The forgetting curve is brutal, retention requires engagement, volume and depth trade off. What actually works if you want to read a lot and retain it? So, first, the forgetting curve is brutal. Without review or application, research shows people forget roughly 50 to 80% of what they read within days. Reading 50 books back to back without reinforcement means most of it evaporates. Retention requires engagement. Passive reading, eyes moving across pages, is not the same as learning. Real retention comes from taking notes, discussing ideas, applying concepts, sleeping on it, and returning to it later. Volume and depth trade off. Reading 50 books shallowly gives you a wide map but few deep path. Reading 10 books deeply, annotating, summarizing, connecting, applying will likely produce more lasting knowledge than 50 read casually. What actually works if you want to read a lot and retain it? Take brief notes on key ideas after each chapter. Write a short summary when you finish each book. Apply or discuss what you learn within 24 to 48 hours. Revisit your notes periodically. Let books in the same area reinforce each other. The goal shouldn't be to finish books, it should be to change how you think. Sometimes one well digested book does more than 10 skimmed ones. And so, yeah, although you can read 50 books in a year, you should read to understand and you should read to utilize, not just for the sake of reading it. For you to get call to action, this is a call to action, and the call to action is I'm on a journey to improve myself, to grow my company, and if you're trying to also jump on the same journey, subscribe to my YouTube channel and let's grow together. Growth is a good thing. Stagnancy is bad. And in one of my videos, I said stagnancy is not real. There's only progress and retrogression. So let's progress together. Like and subscribe.